Hey guys, what's up? So recently I've brought you guys a lot of games from the World Cup of Pokemon. We've seen some newer players and some really experienced players, and it's been really cool to see that diversity. Now, for those of you that don't know, the World Cup of Pokemon historically had all generations. In fact, for the last 4 or 5 years, it's had generations going all the way down to Generation 1 RBY. So last year, for example, it had RBY, GSC, ADV, DPP, Black, White, Oras, and then the next 4 slots were all SMOU. So it was 4 SMOU slots and 6 old gen slots. So all of a sudden, this year they made it all SSOU into 8 SSU slots per team, which I thought was one of the best changes they could have possibly made. And that's because now we have all the players, the old relics who are really still trying to retain their relevance in this community and play the game at a high level, and some of them are truly amazing players. Like Tomahome, for example, is one of the top 10 players of all time, in my opinion. And also the new players that are out there kind of trying to forge their path into the Smogon tournament community at a high level. And it's really interesting seeing these kind of cultures clash and all of these people trying to find the mutual goal of finding success in SSAU. And this video, I really want to highlight the success of new players. So we're going to go over some games where newer players maybe shine. So there's some examples. There's Gotcha. There's ElectricWin. Pharaoh's been doing pretty well thus far. Also, Byron, we actually covered a game of his, as you see here, against another new player, Splash, who I'm hoping is going to do well in his remaining games. And then, last but not least, there's also this guy in Team Germany called Gurko Random. I don't know how to pronounce the name, honestly, but he goes in the PS name Orem Felix in this game, and he's also a really great player. He also did well in NUPL. I really just can't pronounce his foreign name, honestly, for the life of me. But that aside, I just want to use this video to highlight there are a lot of new players that are doing really well, and I think it's really cool. And I think the newer players are also more likely to check out media, things like YouTube. So I just want to say, if any of you are watching this, I think it's really cool to see a lot of guys succeeding that haven't had a chance to play in tournaments like World Cup previously due to how restrictive it was and all generation emphasis, or tournaments like SPL, which has a limited pool of SS slots and more slots for old generations or lower tiers. Or even Snake, which only has 4 SSU slots. For those of you that don't know what Snake and SPL are, they're other big Smogon official tournaments that I'm definitely going to bring more coverage to in this channel. I've actually done some in the past as well. So yeah, be sure to stay tuned for them later this year and early next year, because the channel is going to keep going up at those points. But that aside, let's go through some games. So the first one is a game between Gotcha and Tomahome. I'm going to try and give one game to each player. But yeah, I think this is Gotcha's first game. I believe he's on Team Latin America against Team Brazil, Tomahome. And yeah, so we're going to see a pretty solid team. It's got Mantine and then just some really strong Pokemon like Excadrill, Urshifu, and Dragapult with a defensive core with Fable and Amoonguss to complement Mantine. Whereas Tomahome's using Corviknight, which you don't see a ton nowadays, but also some threatening Pokemon as well, like Rillaboom, Kyurem, and Hydreigon. So right off the bat, you're going to trade rocks roughly, and Amoonguss is going to get in on Rhyperior. Take a couple high horsepowers, no problem, on a Spore. No worry there, regenerate health out. Rillaboom comes in on this turn, surprisingly, and it's going to come in on a Dragapult, so it's probably going to be forced out on this turn, at this juncture, just because it doesn't want to risk taking a Will-O-Wisp, and it's probably not Scarf, seeing as it took the damage second, but instead Tomahome likes to stay underneath the Will-O-Wisp. In turn, it does 73% with a knockoff, but it's burnt now for the rest of the game, which I think is really unfortunate, because the Amoonguss was weakened, so getting that repeated damage off could have been great. But anyway, U-turn here, and now Clefable also gets knocked off, so at least Tomahome's making some progress with the burnt Rillaboom, but it's definitely going to be limited in the long haul, and it might even not let him have Grassy Terrain in the long haul, which is really unfortunate for things like Rhyperior and Kyurem. Speaking of knocks, Clefable goes for a knockoff here into the Tomahome's Corviknight, which is interesting. He goes for Iron Head here. It does 41%. And another knockoff here for Gotcha was an over-prediction of a U-turn into Rhyperior or Clefable, I guess. But either way, now Tomahome makes an over-prediction, and I think this is a really poor play. He goes to Kyurem with Rocks Up as the Clefable goes for a cover. Now, of course, if I'm Gotcha, I'm probably switching here to something like Mantine, because I don't want to risk getting flinched down, because if I'd be too low after this, it would really suck. But at the same time, staying in and softball only covers the double switch, and I think that taking the Stealth Rock into Kyurem unnecessarily with a chance of any backfire, unless it's like 100% certainty, just isn't necessarily worthwhile. And Gotcha got all of Tomahome here, so stayed in and softballed up as the Kyurem comes in. So Kyurem takes rocks, and the Clefable's back to full health. And the Corviknight now has to come back in and take a Moonblast and Rock, so it's under half health itself. Sidus now has to go for Roost, and that allows Dragapult to come back in despite being at 20% and potentially get something status. So it's a really good sequence there for Gotcha. Rillaboom comes in now on a Will-O-Wisp, so the smart of Tomahome to call that play out. I think that was a really good idea. And Tomahome is a very strong veteran player, so again, it's not surprising to see him doing well. He goes for a U-turn there, well knowing that the Dragapult could either die or be put in Stealth Rock range after the Grassy Glide, so Now we get Corviknight against Clefable when it's healthy, and another Iron Head comes out here, and this time it does flinch. So that's good for Tomahawk. He goes for another here, and Clefable just soft boils up, which is probably smart. Recovers a bit from the grassy terrain. He does so again. I think at this point it's a bit excessive and greedy, but it does work out for Gotcha. Okay. So now what's he going to go to? He goes to Mantine. Yeah, that's a smart play. Can force stats and something not named Clefable, but honestly, this Corviknight is pretty annoying. But Gotcha pulls a great double and gets in the extra predicting Clefable, and now goes for a Rapid Spin here, which is just an amazing play because he gets the Stealth Rocks off the field. And he only takes 49% from Flamethrower in return, so overall, the leftovers Clefable just isn't strong enough. And then he stays in and takes an Iron Head, and it flinches. And I don't really agree with this play from Tomahawk, but I think he was scared of going right back to Corviknight and just getting doubled on himself with rocks off the field, so I get it. But yeah, now the Clef is forcibly low, and the Corviknight's taking Iron Head, so that's going to be forced to roost itself. So Dragon Ball comes in here now on that roost, and it can again start to pose a potential threat to Tomahawk's team. This time Rhyperior comes in. It's already asleep though, so it's going to be able to soak the Wisp, but it's going to be forced right out. And a Hex here would do 1,000,000 damage. So a Dragon comes in here from Tomahawk, but it's going to be on a Draco Meteor. It's an amazing prediction here from Gotcha, and that's a really cool play. I'm going to pause the game for a second. So he knew that going to Clef on a Hex when it's at 14% is not going to work. This is dead. He doesn't want this getting status to Corviknight, so therefore he tried going to a Scarfire Dragon, but Gotcha called that mid-ground play, and he got the kill there with Draco, which is just an amazing play. So I think that was a really cool showcase. Unfortunately, a -2x is not going to take this out now, so Clefable's going to get to heal up after the U-turn, but not all is lost as Drill's in, and the Dragon Ball is still a major threat. Now, Corviknight comes in here on an Iron Head, which is helpful for Gotcha to get some chip on it, especially with the knocked off leftovers, but still, Default comes out here now as Urshifu comes on in, and Urshifu's going to be able to pose a major threat with either stab move, so Rillaboom's going to be far enough to see what it's locked into. It locks into Wicked Blow, which makes sense. That invites in the Clefable, but the Clefable all it can do is really heal up or Flamethrower to try and hit Drill, but the Clefable comes in here now, predicting that. You can potentially get a knockoff off on the leftovers from the Clefable, and with the Drill still being alive and the Urshifu being able to revenge kill, and also, on top of that, the Amoonguss might have Stun Spore. I just don't see a way for this Clef to potentially sweep. So he gets out of the way as the Corviknight comes in on Stealth Rock, which is good for Tomahawk. But again, Gotcha feels like he's a step ahead of the game due to getting that burn on the Rillaboom and predicting that the Dragon there. So he brings in the Urshifu, goes for Wicked Blow into Clef. Critical Hit does 40, not yet always Critical Hit, what am I saying? So he got a softball up here probably. He does just that. Personally, I would have risked the roll, but that's fair. Rocket Cup here, and the Brave Bird variant of Corviknight comes in as Urshifu comes in for Gotcha, not predicting that, but he takes 73%, but at the same time, he could just continue to go for Wicked Blows. He's still healthy enough, and he's going to force softballs on Clefable, which allows Amoonguss to come in and heal up. So Tomahawk's making some good plays here, but I don't think Gotcha is necessarily in jeopardy of throwing this game away. He brings in the Corviknight here on the Stun Spore that misses. That's unfortunate for Gotcha there, but there's still another chance to hit here if he wants to, but no, he goes Dragon Ball instead, saying, okay, I'll get a burn instead. That's chill. And he does get the burn off as, I don't know why I didn't go to 100% Clefable. I guess he was scared of a U-turn. Yeah, I think he was predicting the U-turn, so that's a really smart play to stand and persist on the issue for Gotcha. So now this is burnt. He lived the Brave Bird. He's getting hexes off, which do a little under half. Yeah, as you see, 43 into 46. Tom was trying to roost it off, which helped very marginally, if at all. I think ultimately he's going to have to attack, but U-turn is to play here from the Dragon Ball as Drill comes in now, knowing it's not Body Press because it's Iron Head plus Brave Bird. And a Swords Dance Drill, well, it's probably not Swords Dance. It's Rapid Spin, Iron Head. Maybe it is Swords Dance after all because it's Stealth Rock elsewhere. Yeah, he goes Rapid Spin here, and honestly, that's the game. Defog, yeah, no, there's no way to beat this at this point. He's just going to go Swords Dance and eventually win the game or just flinch it out either or. Yeah, and he goes for Swords Dance, and that'll do it. So Gotcha's actually going to win 6-0 against Tomahawk. So this is a player who's virtually new to the tournament community. I really did not hear of this person once prior to World Cup, beating one of the best players of all time. And I just think this is a really cool showcase of how great newer players are and how they're taking the World Cup of Pokemon by storm now in this new generation. I think that's really cool. But yeah, as you see, game's over there. Alright, this game was actually pretty long, I think, but it's fine. So ElectricWin is a fairly newer player. He actually made it really far in the Smogon Charity Bowl, making it all the way to the finals, which is really cool. He's one of the bigger bulky team players, which is interesting. And Gary Oak, not a newer player though. Gary Oak's been an NU player at a high level for a couple years. I post my games with him in the channel actually today. Well, you'll see this in a couple days, but yeah, today I just posted the video with him. He was my NU round 1 opponent, unfortunately. But yeah, no, he's a really great player on Team Spain, whereas ElectricWin's a newer player on Team Germany, trying to kind of break out of the bubble and showed he's an established, capable tournament player. So this game, he brings Talonflame, which is pretty interesting, with Urshifu, a Sandcore with Excadrill, and Hippowdon with Clefable and Amoonguss trying to team because, it's SSU after all, so not seeing those Pokemon would be weird. Gyariok bringing a bit of a bizarre team. He's got Seismitoad as the Stealth Rock setter. I'm not super fond of that, but I guess he needed the water immunity. It helps against things like rain. And having the Volt Switch ability can go a long way too, but unfortunately he's bringing Cinderace versus a Hippowdon, so that can't do well, but we'll see how he could persist in the long haul. So we're going to see here Amoonguss is to play for ElectricWin against Gyariok's Cinderace. So Cinderace is going to force this to get out of the way. Hippowdon comes in here now on a U-turn. U-turn's only going to do 20%, and it's going to do almost as much in return with Rocky Helmet, leaving the Cinderace at 84%. Now the Seismitoad comes in. It's going to threaten out the Powdod into the Amoonguss. So Amoonguss can potentially get a Spore off here as Mana Buzz comes in. And it comes in on a Sludge Bomb, though. Sludge Bomb only does 19%. It's worth also noting that it is Overcoat. But now he goes to Double Sickle Fable on the Sludge Bomb again. Does 44%, no poison as well. So it's a smart play there from ElectricWin to just persist on the issue and try and force status in the Mana Buzz. But speaking of status being forced, Clef goes for Thunder Wave as Stun Spore is missed from ElectricWin, which is unfortunate. And now Softball from Clef on a Spore. So yeah, there we go. It's finally status. It's asleep for a couple turns. Then Magearna comes in, and ElectricWin makes a great play predicting that switch and gets the Stun Spore off on it, and then Volt Switch from probably Specs does so little as he goes for a Sludge Bomb predicting the Volt Switch and doesn't do much into the Dragon Pult, which just goes for U-turn into the Mana Buzz. And it feels like Gary is letting everything potentially take status. It's thankfully for him he goes for Stun Spore, not Sludge Bomb here, but yeah, finally it's forced out, and Clefable comes into the knockoff. It takes the leftovers getting knocked off, and we'll see what the Clefable set is, but not just kidding. He doubles to Excadrill here, which is really good. And now he goes for an Earthquake, and it does 65% to that Seismitoad. Like, what the hell kind of offensive Seismitoad is this? So he doubles to Mana Buzz here on a Rapid Spin, which is a superb play by ElectricWin predicting the switch here. He gets the rocks off, and now he goes for Iron Head into the Mana Buzz. Mana Buzz goes Foul Play with just 78% to it, but another Iron Head Flinch could do the trick, but he actually elects to go Hippowdon here, which does surprise me, but maybe it's a Toxic variant. Maybe he wants to retain Stealth Rock being on the field in the long haul. I don't quite know, but either way, Seismitoad comes in here now. Stealth Rock is light up, and following that turn, Clefable comes in here now, and Stealth Rock gets set up for the Gyariok side, but Earthquake does 40%, revealing it's probably an offensive Seismitoad, and takes 40% from a Leftovers Moonblast. I believe it was Leftovers before it got knocked. Yeah, okay. Cinderace now comes in here, and he's got to be scared of Gunk Shot for sure, so he probably should go... Nope. And there are some downsides to new players after all. Sometimes they make inexperienced plays under pressure, which is true, but he didn't go up out on there. Scared of the U-turn perhaps, because U-turn would have made Pyro to a KO, but sometimes you just can't get ahead of yourselves. Anyway, Dragapult comes in here now off the U-turn into the Hippowdon. Followed by Amoonguss coming in on a Will-O-Wisp, which is a really smart play, so he can threaten this with Stun Spore, but Hex might come out here and try and damaging this Amoonguss. Instead he goes U-turn into the no Rocky Helmet, right, forgot, my bad. And that invites the Magearna in, which really can't take much damage from this besides like a resisted Giga Drain, so looks pretty good for ElectricWin here, despite Gary's initial positioning, just because he got a lot of damage off in the Seismitoad, and the Clef wasn't really needed, I'd say. Yeah. Talonflame comes in here now, and Talonflame does really well against this team in my eyes. Brave Bird here, it does 27% to the Mana Buzz, but you can just go out there Powdown at this turn, and I believe it's not a toxic variant of Mana Buzz, so it's chill. As the Powdown reveals itself to be toxic here, yeah, and he gets toxic off the Mana Buzz. That's amazing, because now all of a sudden, Drill and Urshifu and Talonflame pose much bigger threats, and he brings in the Clefable, but it stays asleep, and then he doubles to X-Drill here on the Mana Buzz, and now we're one flinch away from hell, but he doesn't want to even risk that. He thinks the Foul Play will come out. But instead we see a double switch to Magearna here from Gyariok, which is a smart play, but he still can only just do so much damage as Amoonguss comes in on a Flare Cannon miss, and then a Flare Cannon that only does 36%, which is followed by Giga Drain. So yeah, it's not going to do much in the long haul. And now, predicting a double switch perhaps, Talonflame gets doubled in here on the Cinderace, and then Cinderace switches out as the Mana Buzz comes in, takes a 30% Brave Bird, plus Poison, leaving it at 44%. Now Urshifu comes in here now to take advantage of it. Kills the Seismitoad after bulking up. Oh shit, it's bulk up, so he might have Sucker Punch. But now he switches out here as the Cinderace goes for U-turn. Dragapult goes for Draco and Hippowdon, but that invites in the Drill to potentially go in now as the Mana Buzz is toxic, and he goes to Clef as fodder because of that. But then he goes Dragapult in the double switch for some reason, predicting a Rapid Spin. Oh, great play there. And now he goes back to Cleft to let it die. So he kept the rocks up there. It was a really smart play by Gary. But ultimately, Pyro Ball into the Urshifu can only do so much. As while it takes that out, we're going to see the Talonflame come in here now and just kind of go for game, honestly. As he gets some chip on the Mana Buds, forced to roost. And now, after a trick, we're just going to kind of see this Amoonguss slowly beat this Black Sludge trick Magearna because for some reason Gary thought that was a good idea. We're taking 12.5% each turn, which is really unfortunate. Yeah, and he just spams Spore just to make sure. And now Dragapult comes in here, which is great. Leaves him in a 3-2 position. But now the Talonflame should just... Wait, is this Scarf from plus speed Talonflame? I don't know. Either way, he goes for Roost there. And Foul Play is not doing half, so... Or he does roughly half. But yeah, he could just Roost it off, and that'll do it. As the Drill can potentially die to the Cinderace, but now the Brave Bird should be able to take this out. Yep, so that's going to be a good game. I hope you guys enjoyed this game. But we got more. Well, ElectricWin did play another game. We're not going to focus on that. There's also the Pharaoh, someone who played my teammate Starmaster, but he also played Eternal Spirit. So two really good OU players. In this game in particular, he used a Rain team, which is really interesting. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it had 4 water types and a Slowbro Galar, which is kind of curious. Kingdra, Crawdont, and Barraskewda, so that's interesting. And also Ferrothorn and Pelipper. So yeah, let's see how he plays this game. He's already 1-0 going into this game, I believe, because this game was yesterday. He beat Star the day before. We see a Barraskewda lead. It goes for Liquidation turn 1 and does 61% to that to the Shuckle. But it red cards out to Kingdra, which can just get a kill here. As Urshifu Rapid Strike surprisingly comes in here for Gamma. So he's using this one. But that just invites in the Slowbro Galar, I suppose, and it comes in on a Surging Strike, which does 18 plus 16 plus 19, which leaves it under half. So it is 2 KO from Banded, which is cool. But he can just go Pelipper, and he should withstand 2. Oh, but it's Substitute and Thunder. Oh, that's really cool. And Scald does break the sub, though. And now he goes Slowbro Galar again on a Substitute again. Now it goes Ferrothorn, but Ferrothorn takes to close combat, and it just dies to the Barb. So I don't know if that was the best play for Eternal Spirit in hindsight, but anyway, Ferrothorn now is revenge killed after taking the close combat damage by Bisharp's knockoff, which takes it out, but it leaves it at 62% after Rock Hamlet plus Life Orb plus Iron Barbs itself, and it invites in the Crawdont here to get a kill here. Sucker Punch can only do so much, as the Crawdont is able to take out it with knockoff from 52%, which is kind of impressive. He's predicting a switch to Kyurem, I suppose. Anyway, Gengar comes in here now on a Sludge Wave to Crawdont for a kill, but not all hope is lost as the Barraskewda is still pretty much quicker than everything, so it gets a Liquidation off Life Orb, boosted into the Shuckle there. And now Kyurem comes in, which is a pretty big threat, but it's not enough, as sacking the Pelipper gives him ample turns. Wait, but it's Substitute. Is Gamma going to be able to pull this game back? Oh, it's Substitute Dragon Dance. Wow, that is interesting. I didn't expect that, honestly. He goes to Slowbro Galar, though, which can potentially handle it. Depends on sets. Another Dragon Dance there on a Psyche, which does break the Substitute. Okay, it's getting leftovers done. Has Protect Substitute, Ice Skill Sphere, supposedly, so... We're just seeing another Psychic here from Pharaoh. Okay. Sub again. He's not using Protect. Maybe he's Roost? What is this set? I'm so confused. He's Roost. Wait a minute. He's Roost. Psychic there does... Whoa. It does 57%. Holy cow. That is one strong-ass Psychic. This one does 54. And it's like a bulky Kyurem, too. So that's a problem. Another Roost here. No drops or crits, though, so... Kyurem is hanging on by a thread. Alright, he should be running low on Psychics now. He only has 1 left into Kyurem, or 2 in general. So now he goes Kingdra here. And what Kingdra can do is just spam Dragon Pulse into this, presumably. Oh, he goes... Oh, he's Draco. Oh, he's not Dragon Pulse. That's unfortunate. Okay, so yeah, this sub-gem looks pretty good here, actually. Wait. So yeah, he goes for another Draco. And another. Now he goes back to Slowbro. And he goes for Sludge Wave. Okay. But wait, he gets the Poison with Specs, and that leaves him low, and all of a sudden, wow. Yeah, he needed that Poison to win the game, damn. That's really unfortunate for Eternal Spirit, honestly. But Pharaoh played his Outfall, which is smart. But yeah, the Poison's going to leave it really low, so he can only get 1 more kill. So you go just Barraskewda and probably just go for, oh, it's Aqua Jet. Yeah, I was going to say Barraskewda could just double to Pelipper, I guess, but that works too. Anyway, the Talonflame comes in here now as the Pelipper comes in for the Pharaoh side. And that's going to invite a Swords Dance there, but it's going to have to break its, oh, it's Dual Wing. Wait a minute. Can this do the trick? Is this enough to kill the Kingdra? Or, oh, the Barraskewda's Aqua Jet actually is going to do the trick. Never mind. This is better priority. Yeah, same priority, but better speed and rain. Yeah, okay, and that's going to do the trick mostly because Gengar is obviously going to fall to any attack, including Liquidation there. And last but not least, the Weakened or Shifu is not going to be able to... Oh, it's dead, never mind. So yeah, that's the Pharaoh. He definitely got a little bit luckier than the other guys, but he also beat Star Master with a Sun team, so he's just mastering all the elements slowly but surely. Anyway, the last dude is Byron. Byron the Well. I'm not going to actually go into another game of his, but we did bring a game of his between Splash and him. I just said like a... We brought his game against Splash on my channel. Be sure to check that out. He also beat Loki and Teal 6, which is like, it's cool. He's the first 3-0 World Cup. It's definitely major credit there. But on top of that, we also have Zamog versus Gerfaludabla Random, or I guess Worm Felix on the forums here. So let's go over this game as well. Worm was, I guess we'll call him Felix. Felix was using a team with Skarmory, Clefable, Hydreigon, Toxapex, Dragapult, and Extra, which is a really good team in this metagame. It's interesting to see Skarmory used. Zamog Ganothian was using Diggersby, Amoonguss, because we don't see Amoonguss enough, Mandibuzz enough, Hippowdon, Magearna, and Rotom Heat, which is a very solid team as well. Diggersby is a cool addition to that as well. And let's get into the game now. We're going to see a lead drill here against the Amoonguss. I should just got to pause for 1 sec, guys. Alright, my bad there. Anyway, yeah, so we're going to go ahead and see a lead drill from Felix against Elite Amoonguss for Zamog. And that's going to be met with presumably a Spore because there's no like Overcoat. Yeah, our Grass type. So the drill gets slept as it sets rocks up. And now Powdon comes in. I assume Felix is just going to burn the Sleep Turn here. Yeah, if he's Toxic, he honestly could stay in here in theory, but I think I just go Skarmory. And he does just that. So what's cool here is he can get Spikes up, and that's going to force Defogs, which means that his the rocks that Hippowdon just said are kind of going to be useless, as he's going to want to deflect them away, or it's just going to be worse than the opposing hazard situation. So yeah, Rotom Heat comes in on the Skarmory, and he gets a Paralysis into Hydreigon, which is really unfortunate for Felix. But it turns out to be the Roost Hydreigon variant, which is really promising right now. And now Toxapex comes in here on a Defog. So yeah, there we go. The rocks are removed, and Toxapex is in the try and force status because Zamog has no like Magic Card user or anything like that. So he's probably just going to go to Hippowdon or Amoonguss to absorb the status, and he goes to the Hippowdon, which initially absorbs a knock, which is really good for the Worm, the Felix side. Rocks come up here on a Toxic, that's even better. So yeah, we're going to put this on fast because I don't want this recording to last forever. But anyway, Hydreigon doubles in here now on an Earthquake, which is a great play because we know this Hippowdon can't touch it. And now Magearna comes in on a predicting Flamethrower. It does 80% almost, and it gets a burn, which is just a great play there from Felix, knowing that switch was coming because there's no other Dragon Resist. Then we see doubles Diggersby here, knowing that the paralyzed Hydreigon's going to switch out, and it goes from Mega Kick into the Clef, but it only does 94% with Life Orb. Moonblast is able to do 60% to it, and then the Fire Punch takes it out, so it's probably a Life Orb Clef. But yeah, that was a really fair trade for Felix as well, as the Magearna now just gets whittled out by the combination of U-Turn and Burn. Drill comes in here now, and it knows it's not going to be an offensive like Flare Cannon or Focus Blast / Aura Sphere variant, so he can go in there, but he actually double switches to Pax, just trying to scout that out, I guess. And Hippowdon comes in for the Zamog side, and now an Earthquake comes out into the Skarmory. So yeah, that's fair. But now the Skarmory goes Toxic into Rotom Heat, and that's just amazing, because this is like the only lifeline Zamog had. And all of a sudden, it's cut off. Discharge can only do so much to Pax, etc. So now it's Diggersby just trying to make progress. He goes Sword Dance and Fire Punch, so he does get the kill on Skarmory, but Rocky Helmet leads to him being killed as well. And now the Rotom Heat's wearing out. So it just looks like the Felix side is going to run away with this game, barring unfortunate stuff. And he doesn't get fully paralyzed there, so he can heal up the Hydreigon. Nasty Plot there. And yeah, now Draco is going to be able to get a kill, but it gets powered twice. And Clear Smog is a cool move by Zamog. But yeah, it doesn't look like there's much of a chance for Zamog to win this game in this matchup. So another Nasty Plot there. Finally, a Flamethrower can take it out, the Amoonguss, and that makes it 4-4, but yeah, there's just not much going around this. Drill comes in here now, and it scares out the Rotom Heat, but it stays asleep, and now Pax comes in, and you can't really break Pax at this point, so the Hippo comes in now, and it slacks off, but Hydreigon just, you know, it isn't able to roost. It takes Paras twice. All of a sudden, there's a bit more of a game, but still, I don't see a way out for Zamog. That Earthquake only does 50%, and he's just recovering it off, and Toxic Burn, so eventually, yeah, he gets a Toxic, and the Mana doesn't switch here now. Felix just showing great initiative, but yeah, ultimately, there's just no way for Zamog to outlast this team, so Felix is going to emerge victorious. Dragapult even comes in here now to get a kill. Dragon is really to be physical, that's cool. But yeah, no. The Hippowdon just can't outlast, so it's forced out, and then everything else gets status and crippled as well. And we're going to see the Drill wake up to make matters even worse. And trade pretty much with the Hippowdon. And that's that. Yeah. So Felix is going to win the game, as the Magearna can't last forever, obviously, and I just think it's been really cool to showcase some new players, guys. So let me know what you think of the World Cup Pokemon. Let me know what you think about new players finding a place this generation. Alright, guys, have a great day. Peace out.